Hi there everyone. Let's imagine the following scenario. You are terribly bored and you want to play some car racing game, but a bit more down to earth in terms of the car list. Also, you want some distraction, fun physics, and satisfying driving model, which is not fully simulator-like, but more simcady. What would you pick? Some of you probably set FlatOut series up to ultimate carnage, and that's because FlatOut 3 sucks and should rest forgotten by the history.
I want FlatOut 3.
Meanwhile, FlatOut 4 is just terribly mid. Others might say that Wreckfest is also a really good option, because it has been made by the same developers as the old FlatOut series, and it is way newer than their previous titles. And yes, while that would be a pretty good choice, what if I tell you that there is another game you might add to that list? FlatOut is a racing game made by a small indie studio called Good Boys, that apparently is made out of only 4 people, and the game runs on Unreal Engine 4, which to me seems as a pretty big accomplishment considering the size of the team. The game can be bought on both GOG and Steam for about €17, but sometimes it might have a 30% off discount, which seems as a very reasonable price for what the game offers, which I will try to discuss later. The game is currently at 82% of positive reviews at the time of me writing this, so I think it is a fairly decent score for an indie game that had barely any publicity other than appearing on CoreAge's streams before the release and soon after. With all that behind us, let's go back to the topic of the video. Is FlatOut the FlatOut 3 we deserve after over a year of support? So, first things first. The main mode of the game is what might be called as the career, which begins with our antagonist showcase. This would be our first moment to get used to the driving model. After that short prologue, we meet our protagonist Mikhalich, who tells us the story of how he has gotten his spot in the FlatOut festival. As he describes it, he recently came to America, where he tried his best in many different jobs like being a stuntman, and he was confined to a bed due to some accident. While driving his car, he was unlucky again, and the car started to breaking apart and it exploded. He miraculously survived that, and his dog pulled him out of the car? I have no idea how this works, but okay, I guess. Either way, he didn't know what to do with himself anymore and saw an ad for the festival, and he felt that he will, for some reason, feel right at home there. But first, he needs to qualify for the whole competition in a race. The race is quite short and simple, only 2 laps to go, and our competitors smash their cars quite a lot, so getting the first place is the matter of taking the position and holding it. After that, it's time for the Destruction Derby, where we need to eliminate our opponents. Even if we won't manage to survive under the onslaught of other competitors smashing into us, the rest of the cars will suddenly explode, leaving Mikhalich as the only survivor. At least, that's how it looks like. After that, we're getting an explanation of what we will be doing for the rest of the game. But you have to witness this cutscene for yourself.
We're in the FlatOut Festival, and this is our garage where we will monitor our progress and keep an eye on the condition of our cars. Our goal is to make our way to the top of the blacklist and win the Trail-Out Cup. And that's the blacklist. Frank Woods in the first place, followed by Frau Ubers, Onemas, Joe Boomer, Yuji Tian, Big Cheese, Ivan Comrade, and last of all, in 8th place, yours truly. And to make our way to number 1, we need to gain funds and win competitions. Are you ready? Now let's move on to the junkyard. You need a car and a license to race. I have a couple of licenses, but you have to beat the bosses from the blacklist to get the rest. That's how the rules of the festival work. Usually we buy up car bodies. Now I'm no mechanic, but we'll assemble the first car together. After that, Jenko will...
Huh?
I don't really know how to describe this. It seems like the voice lines have undergone so many changes that to save some money or time, the developers decided to use AI voice generation based on the already recorded lines, which sounds really weird. The voice lines play mostly in the correct moments, it seems, but the lines are either too long or the cutscene playing too fast and it cuts too early. It is a mess, to be honest, and that might give a really bad first impression to some people, which is truly sad to me. The other cutscenes are also a bit problematic, but I'll come back to them while talking about the plot. In any case, this is where we'll be buying and assembling our first speed demon. And some of you might have already noticed that the cars in the game are really familiar to the real life cars, like Trabant or Beetle, etc., but with the changed names for the obvious reasons.
We have built the car. We're ready to go. This will be the last festival of your life. Come on, let's kick some.
Yeah, as he said, let's kick some. When we get to the start menu, we can see that to challenge a blacklist member to a duel, we have to gather enough wins on the podium and get enough funds. Both of which reminds me highly of Need for Speed Most Wanted, where you have to get some wins and get enough bounty to have an opportunity to beat them. Speaking of the opponents, our blacklist is composed of a Life of Boris fan, the cousin of Big Smoke from GTA San Andreas, Diva from Wish.com, Average Southerner, Rainbow Six Siege Ash, Something Something Stepsister, and definitely not Jack Benton from FlatOut.
Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
It is about time to start our first race. As mentioned before, the driving model seems good and generally feels well, no matter if you're playing on keyboard or on a controller. Some cars are more prone to drifting and sliding around the corners, which I imagine some people might not like. However, there are enough cars which are easy to control and quite fun to drive. Some vehicles even have their own mechanics, like the car inspired by James Bond's Aston Martin DB5, with built-in machine guns hidden behind its front lights, or go-karts, which are even called Mar 10, and their ability to bonk someone with a bat while overtaking them. And I swear, this was really fun, even though it's been only one race like this during the whole career. The driving model especially appeared to me as one of the most common complaints people decided to talk about in their reviews. It is commonly compared to Wreckfest, and of course, once again, the FlatOut series. And just to check, I've bought and played FlatOut Ultimate Carnage for a little while, testing the feel of the handling between it and Trail-Out, with Xbox Series controller and on keyboard, and they appeared to me as pretty much the same. I cannot fully compare the driving model of Wreckfest as I have only played the mobile version, and the handling there appeared to me as pretty different in comparison to FlatOut, so this is a matter of preference really. There is actually a little bit more to it. The game has a lot of more heavy cars, like SUVs, vans, trucks, etc. And even though they have a lot of weight and generally should be quite sturdy and deal a lot of damage during the destruction derbies, they're quite problematic at times. First, they really like to suddenly fall over on their side or roof while going high speed and encountering any little obstacle, which makes them lose their center of gravity and pathetically fall. Considering their weight, they should stay on the road quite easily if you are paying attention to what's going on with the vehicle, but that's not the case. Even the AI struggles sometimes with keeping all four wheels on track. Second, they might not even deal all that much damage during the destruction derby, even with all that weight they have on paper. Hitting our competitors' cars directly head-on or to the back might not deal a lot of damage, while the hits on the side might appear weirdly effective at times. And this generally seems inconsistent between the cars of similar potential to deal damage, so there is definitely something wonky going on here. Speaking of the cars, I really want to say a few words about the car variety. And there is actually a lot to try. From the usual shitboxes, Russian cars which barely get any recognition at all, muscle cars, sport cars, supercars, SUVs, trucks, buses. In the game's basic version without any paid DLCs, we currently have about 80 vehicles, and that's including the bonus cars we can unlock through entering the special codes as cars register plates. These codes can even unlock the special outfits, which our hero can wear while racing. We can also apply paint jobs to our cars, which will not only give you free repairs, but also some bonus to either funds or money gathered during the events. But the racing game cannot exist without its tracks. And what can we find in this game? There are 20 different track layouts that may take place in different weather conditions and biomes, such as snow tracks, the other taking us to the burning savanna while the sun is setting behind the horizon, city tracks, but there are also those that you will be driving on only once during the boss battles, and every single one of them is unique in some way. This might differ quite a lot from St. Petersburg track that partially takes place on the frozen river, a port during heavy storm, or an LA neighborhood where our car is under fire from the gang working for Big Cheese. I don't want to spoil too much yet before talking about the plot, but believe me, they had a lot of cool ideas. We can also find 10 more tracks that are more closed. The game calls them cross tracks, but I would like to call them the stadium tracks, as they are generally surrounded by something that doesn't really allow you to go outside the track too far. These also contain tracks that might be heavily inspired by FlatOut, but there are some new ideas here too, like some tracks have additional snow, an autodrome, or the track taking place on the crash test course, where the collisions and eliminations are basically unavoidable. There are also another 10 arenas for Destruction Derby and another 8 unique ones for the boss battles only. Furthermore, some tracks have unique obstacles that you should probably try to avoid, like trucks driving the opposite way, a train driving around the map, or angry rhinos which can gang up on you and turn your car into a nice pile of smoking rust if not avoided on time.
You picked the wrong house, fool!
Hey, chill!
With the truck galore behind us, let me tell you about the other modes available in the game. Basically, whatever you want to do in the game affects your main career in some way, which means that you can take part in the free races to get some extra money for the cars or upgrades. Not only that, they also help to gain the necessary amount of fans to progress further in the main career, which stacks nicely with the bonuses you can get from the car liveries. On the other hand, the events are basically split into 3 categories. The first one being the classic racing modes, as I said before, on either open tracks or stadiums. Second one is the Destruction Derby, where you have to either get the most points for dealing damage to other competitors to win, or become the last man standing. The third category is actually a bit more interesting. The first mode is stunts, described as driver's body tricks. That sounds a bit kinky, but okay. Anyway, here we have the modes which might be pretty familiar to the FlatOut fans, like bowling, where you have to use our driver's ragdoll to fall over all of the bowling pins, or darts, where we need to score the highest amount of points by hitting the dartboard. But that's not all, because we have a few new ones, like golf, where we need to get the driver into one of the holes. The further the hole is, the higher the score multiplier we can get. But also, we have another multiplier, which gives us higher score the less we move the driver while in air. This mode is quite fun and easy to learn, compared to another one, the billiard, in which, to be completely honest with you, I suck ass at. Because it's really hard to get the ball into the hole with how unpredictable the ball's physics is. Or it might be just the classic case of
Skill issue.
The last one is called the renovation, which is basically Angry Birds, but instead of a sling we have a car and our driver is the bird. This is one of the easiest ones, but still quite fun nonetheless. After all of these shenanigans, we have the Hunter mode, which takes a lot of inspiration from 2010 Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, and we can see this easily by taking a look at the abilities we have at our disposal. We have to eliminate more opponents than whoever made the highest score. That's pretty much all there is to it really. Escape is a variation on the usual elimination mode, but compared to what we used to, whoever is the last on the track is eliminated in a
Burning ring of fire.
Or to be more specific, a hit-seeking rocket shot from the airplane that is circling around the track. There is also a little bonus that we can also hit our eliminated competitors again when they are trying to get up to score some extra fans. The last one is Contact, which pretty much is a destruction derby mode, but every 20 seconds someone gets a bomb and obviously has to get rid of it by hitting others and transferring the bomb to them. Whoever is the last man standing wins the event. Apart from the modes mentioned under the free race tab, we also have a roulette mode, where we can take part in one of the two types of challenges. Either we can take the path of average fan, which is the easier one as the game gives us a random car, random duration of the race, but still shorter than the average enjoyer path, and a decent vehicle, which pretty much means that we won't have some unusual weird cars, like a shopping cart, but something more tame. We have to deposit some of our money to participate, but the wins are usually worth it either way. Also, no matter which path you have chosen, you are unable to restart the race, so you have only one chance to win. The average enjoyer path, on the other hand, is completely randomized, and we can get any crazy vehicle in the game. Not only that, most of the fields on the roulette give us some kind of a trap to overcome, which might be something not so dangerous, like the bootlegs of Joker and Harley taking part in the race, more inconvenient, like randomly slowing or speeding up the game every few seconds, or the worst kind, something that can eliminate us quite easily, like the helicopter flying over the map, dropping random things onto the track, such as explosive barrels, ATM machines, or some garbage that can slow us down. I must say, I really like this mode. A little bit of randomizing things is always an interesting way to break up the usual routine of taking part in the normal events. Then, there's another, a bit more hidden mode. We can try from our Fest tab, which is usually an easy way of getting some additional fans when completing challenges, getting money from random donations, receiving rewards from the in-game milestones, or starting a stream from our smartphone, where for a random amount of time we'll be getting some amount of fans for doing nothing. Which is pretty much what most of the Twitch streamers do IRL either way. By the way, I also stream on Twitch from time to time. Link in the pinned comment, please check it out. I'm really funny and talkative when given a chance. I swear. Also, the chat Brainerd is just a chef's kiss. Feels just like the average Twitch chat. Back to the game modes. The last mode we can find in the game is a FlatOut, which is a weird hybrid of vehicular combat game, third-person shooter and zombie survival game? I know how this sounds, but it is quite interesting. The premise is pretty simple. There are 5 bosses we need to beat in order to win and get some nice prizes, like the Major Payne's outfit, who is the protagonist in this mode, the starting car based on the old Mini Cooper, and a special Batmobile car. The rewards are neat, so how to complete it? The mode takes place in the LA neighborhood, which the player might know from some of the tracks in the base game, but this time we're pretty much free to go wherever we want, as long as we are able to get rid of the zombies on our way. The map is quite big for just a little mode, which was added to the game as a Halloween event. We have 5 vehicles to purchase at our base and 1 hidden extra vehicle. The mode is not as simple as it might seem at first, because we have 5 different types of weapons to choose from an ordinary minigun, through landmines, and ending with the rocket salvos and a few other special pickups we can collect on the map. We can also leave our car whenever we want, and we can shoot our enemies after obtaining one of the heavy machine guns hidden around the map. Without them, the player is basically screwed when on foot, as we only have a melee weapon at our disposal, which doesn't work well whatsoever. But after getting our hands on one of the HMGs or grenades, it is still worth to leave the car from time to time, as HMG deals a lot more damage compared to our car's miniguns. So it is useful when trying to clear a path before going somewhere where there are a lot of enemies to deal with and we would rather conserve our ammo, rather than getting surrounded by the zombies and getting our car destroyed. Luckily, the destruction of the player's vehicle isn't the end of the game, as our hero has its own health pool, which can regenerate after some time without taking damage, and we can head back to the base on foot to get our car back, but only with half of the HP to spare, and we also lose pretty much all of the ammo we had for our car's weapons. This means that you need to consider your approach to the mode, as we have to learn the allocation of the useful stuff around the map and what to prioritize, buy ammo for weapons, replenish car's health and armor, etc. Not only that, there are a few different types of zombies we can encounter, such as a big zombie, which is pretty much a boomer from Left 4 Dead, as after its death, it explodes, leaving a pool of acid around the place. Mutated dogs, which aren't hard to deal with, but when they bark, they focus the attention of all the neighbor zombies at us. They are the explosive ones, which can blow up when getting in contact with our car, but these aren't the worst, compared to those wearing hazmat suits, which can basically obliterate half of the street with the mini nuke they activate after their death. There are also what I like to call as the brutes, which also have 3 different types. One without any weapons, which simply rushes at us and tries to hit us with either its hands or push our car. The soldier brute, wielding a heavy machine gun, which we can pick up after its death. And the police brute, with a melee weapon and a shield, which it will use to cover itself from the incoming damage. They leave a bunch of grenades for us after we get rid of them, so that's a plus with how irritating they can be at times. Not only that, but the bosses themselves require a bit different tactic to beat, so there is another learning curve for you. I enjoyed my time with this mode, even though it took me about 3 hours to complete because of how frustrating it can be at times.
And it burns, burns, burns.
This looks like a pee-pee to me.
Just a dick. Sit down.
Later.
Sometimes life is cock and ball torture. Without the cock and balls.
Especially with the Ultra Fucker 3000 running on the streets and taking you for its primary target.
Fuck this.
It's not over.
The fuck is this?
The last thing we can enjoy in this game is the split screen mode, which I haven't tried for myself with anyone sadly, but having an ability to play with your close friends is always something worth praising, so there's that. Unfortunately, however, on the 31st of December, the developers announced that the game will not receive the planned multiplayer mode at all, as they are currently busy with other projects and the planned console release of the game. So, sadly, I don't think we will ever have a chance to play with our online friends. Before I focus on the game's main plot, I would like to talk a little about the game's technical side. Even though the game looks and works pretty well, I really recommend you to turn on the DLSS or FSR, as it might actually help you to get more stable FPS. It happened to me a few times that I had a big frame drop from about 80 FPS to 20, where there are a lot of explosions going on somewhere on the track. Not necessarily in front of player's car, mind you, which I learned from my experience, as any explosion on the track can cause bigger or smaller stutters, so it won't be a big surprise if that happens to you, but still, for a small studio doing their first big project on UE4, it is understandable to some degree. The frame drop issue can also occur more often on some maps compared to the others, such as in the Avaliable mode, which surprisingly has its own day and night cycle, which when the night comes can basically cut your frames by half, and there isn't much that can be done about it by trying to ignore it for the time being. With all of the gameplay features thoroughly discussed, at least I hope they were, it is finally the time to talk about the game's main plot, if you could describe it as such. To be honest, it just serves the purpose of giving some motivation to the player to see what's going to happen next. Also, it is pretty predictable, yet still good enough for a racing game. In any case, If you want to experience it on your own, feel free to skip to this timestamp to avoid the spoilers. Okay, I hope everyone who doesn't want spoilers skipped. So let's get this show on the road. There was definitely an attempt to make it interesting, and I appreciate the effort. However, there are some bigger or smaller issues with it that have to be recognized. But let's start all the way back from the first cutscene after our first win. Mikhalich's old buddy, Zhenka, comes to join him, bringing a car and some amount of money with him, which will definitely help in our future endeavors. Eventually, we can finally challenge the number 7th on the blacklist, Ivan Comrade. After beating him in the race, we need to eliminate him in the Destruction Derby, where he has some help from the local friendly Gopniks, which will repeatedly hit our car and be really annoying. Luckily for us, they aren't much of a challenge, so we can get rid of him quite easily.
Ivan, I'm taking your cars and your documents.
Don't you think you want too much, Tavarish Mikhalich?
Need I remind you that I'm a black belt?
Yeah, I don't understand what Mikhail just said. Probably neither do you. And believe me when I say this, that's one of the less awkward cutscenes. But you shall see this later. After a few wins, we can witness this.
Mikhalich, how are you doing?
I can't complain. Comrade was pretty easy.
Yeah. How's your head?
What's it to you?
Just curious. Usually after a trauma like that, there are consequences. Memory loss, flashbacks.
Everything is under control.
I don't think it's a good idea to participate in a festival like this after an injury like that.
I feel like I belong here. Too bad nobody knows how I got in the accident.
Yeah, it's too bad nobody knows.
Don't you need to repair your car?
Yeah, I made a dressing room in there. You can get changed.
Ah, great. I've got a challenge of clothes.
Okay, take care of yourself, Mikhalich.
Yeah, Mikhalich's weird pronunciation sounding kind of like a broken text-to-speech will be a pattern, generally speaking. But even more surprisingly, as you will find out later, this isn't always the case. Anywho, after another round of the events, getting the necessary amount of fans, etc., we can challenge Big Chims to a race. This time, the members of his gang will be after us, waiting for us to pass and open fire on our car, but luckily the police is trying to protect us, so they could be irritating, but not much of a challenge. Then we have the derby part that apparently takes place at Grove Street? Once again, the goons open fire on us while we're trying to finish the cheese. Or some might say, cheese him? Who the hell wrote this shit? Ah! Yes. Me. And the cutscene after your win looks like this.
Oh man, don't be so mean.
Just give me the license.
Should I get you a limo and a jet too? Haha, you got a problem with girls. Maybe you should grow some hair on your matchstick head. Or is your man in the tank top enough for you? Your damn license is in the car. Mikhalich.
What?
If only the voiceover was better. It would have been pretty funny, honestly. I appreciate the reference though. Next on our list is the bootleg Diva. Guys, I can see Mikhalich already in the car, like, come on. Anyway, this time, no gangoons on our tail or anything like that, just the bad weather. For the destruction derby part, however, we have kamikaze cars? Not like she's supposed to be South Korean, but whatever, I guess. But I must say, I really like the arena here though. Too bad it's not available outside of this event.
Are you serious, Zhenka? What the hell?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of anime. I can show you my collection.
Hello, what the fuck? Anime, do you hear me at all?
Shut up, Mikhalich. The license is already on your desk. I'll take care of her myself.
Have you seen Fairy Tail?
Yeah, that's cool anime. Sort of.
Okay, this time I really like this cutscene. Zhenka's voice actor is actually quite decent, and I like how he sounds most of the time. Like, it isn't anything special, but good enough, man. You can be proud of yourself, honestly.
Yeah.
After a while, we have this cutscene.
Mikhalich, what would you like to order?
I would like to have number 9.
And now they have discounts for extra dip.
Oh, for extra deep?
Yes, and for a large soda.
Damn, order this?
These nuts.
Okay, like, if not for the Mikhalich's last sentence, kind of ruining the mood, I like this. Once again, good job. After more grinding and winning events, we can challenge Boomer to a race and he's driving a fucking monster truck. By the way, can we spare a moment and appreciate whoever is responsible for the boss teams? They're just fire, man. Also, speaking of fire, this time during the race part, we can encounter trucks with women throwing dynamite at us.
Women.
For our destruction derby part, we still have to avoid dynamite being thrown at us. But also, thank the devs, because I remember how ridiculous this event was soon after the release, and this isn't even close to what it was back then. Anyway, after beating him, this is the cutscene we receive.
The license! Stay the fuck out of my way or I'll kill you!
Fuck you, you won't get a license. Victory is mine!
Hey, you! What the hell are you making all that noise for?
You shouldn't have come back to the
Take the
festival.
balls out! They're getting... They've got a lot of nerve.
That's true, but what he's talking about me coming back?
I have no idea.
Yeah, this just proves my point. The talent in the animation is there, as this looks pretty okay, but the voice acting at times is less than stellar. And my man Zhenka is still killing it. Meanwhile, Mikhalich speaks too fast for some reason, like he doesn't want to be there. We are getting closer and closer to Woods, however, we still have to take Sonia's place on the blacklist. During the cutscene before the race, Sonia takes care of her usual business, which is pretty normal, but I would like you to gaze upon this. The messages on Sonia's phone suggest that there is some ongoing operation taking place at the festival, but they also have some evidence against Frank. If that's the case, they are doing a pretty terrible job, as they don't seem to do anything other than trying to protect Mikhalich from time to time. During this event, for example, they are basically being our escort for the whole race, which I really appreciate, but on the other hand, isn't it weird that a certain gang ambushed and opened fire on one of the participants? And this isn't even the first time. Anyway, this time, during the derby, Sonia brings SWAT vans to help her. and they can be pretty intimidating at times.
Let me smash.
Our other, less materialistic reward this time is this cutscene.
I'll take them all.
You're welcome to. We have plenty of them in the department.
I'm certainly not taking your pride.
You? You really don't remember me, do you?
What are you talking about?
How about now? We believe in you. You can beat Woods and take the trophy. This time.
What's the big deal about Woods? And what do you mean this time?
I should go.
What she's talking about?
I was cleaning the muffler, yeah?
What does that mean?
Yeah, same. I really don't like how out of the sync the subtitles are at times, but this time they also do not match what Mikhalich says for some reason. It is high time to challenge Frau Uber into a 1v1. And we can already see that she is not alone. This time, there is a lot of things being thrown at us. A bomb, Jesus goons, the police helicopter escorting us while also opening fire on the enemy cars, Big Cheese himself waiting for us at the tunnel's exit, dealing a metric shitton of damage to us with his pistol. But luckily he gets blown up by the helicopter, the bridge blowing up, Boomer showing up in his monster truck just to get wiped out by the incoming burning train. For the derby part this time, we are alone against 7 Beetles, one of them being of course driven by Frau Uber herself. This reminds me of something. I don't know where the challenge lies in this, but whatever, I guess. Cars get blown up, me happy. It is time for the big reveal, and guess what?
Wow, who is it?
Only one left. Woods.
Oh, that Dick didn't tell you anything, did he? You already lost to Woods in the past and everybody knows it. Well, come on, let's have some fun.
And I suppose this time you don't know either?
Okay, I can't hide it from you anymore. You've been here before.
Huh.
Well...
Mikhalich was once taking part in the festival, but during the duel against Woods, he has lost his memory due to his car getting blown up, and there was no surveillance or witnesses on the island. Which doesn't make much sense to me, as why bother challenging against somebody in the first place when nobody can confirm if you win or not? Like, I get it, Woods is playing dirty all along, but something is missing here? Or is it just me?
Damn it!
Also, like, what was Zhenka trying to protect Mikhalich from if he already decided to take part in the festival for the second time, and yet again his life was in danger? Even if Zhenka needed him to challenge Woods again, just to get the revenge, why not telling Mikhalich all of that sooner? So he would know that Woods most probably will try to do something similar again. These puzzles don't quite fit here. For me at least. Unfortunately, Zhenka has left us alone. But we need to prepare further to get to Woods. So, after some time, we get this cutscene.
Hello, Mikhalich.
Why did you come? Why is this?
Open it up and you'll start thinking.
Oh, haha! It's a matter of honor for Woods. Money can't buy everything.
Surprise, motherfucker!
I told you it would be dangerous here. I hope you understand that this time it's definitely your last festival in your life.
Woods! Fuck you, bastard!
Okay, I know that I might be complaining and nitpicking a lot, but that was a lot of hassle to bring all of that money just to keep Woods' position in the festival. And instead of outright getting rid of Mikhalich, he decided to get him beaten up to force him to retire. Like, why exactly would that work? But I guess that's just the obvious villain stupidity, so I'll let that pass. There isn't much left for us to do, so let's get this show on the road, shall we?
Remember this island. This is my island, and no one here has been able to emerge victorious. You are no exception.
Woods, here we are again.
Here we what again?
Mikhalich, ready to die again? There can only be one winner at the festival, and it won't be you.
Woods, I know everything, and this time it will be different. I am not afraid.
Someone is going to die today, and I know exactly who it is. Try to chill out the life, cocksucker.
Try to do what?
Try to chill out the life, cocksucker.
Anyway, as Zhenka predicted, Woods has set up the bombs all over the island, but somehow one of the traps get Woods instead of us.
You decided to take the cup with my own weapon. I thought you were in trouble. You won't get a second chance.
And I guess that graffiti there is supposed to mean that Zhenka has planted a bomb there? Finally, after all of these adventures, time for the final showdown at the oil rig, where we try to get rid of Woods once and for all.
Congratulations! You've made it to the final! Whoa! Let's clap!
Rejoice early, bastard! It's time for you to answer for my past, for Zhenka, for everyone who suffered there on the
I
island.
don't understand what you mean, Mikhalich. Enough lyrics! Let's go!
So, on to the usual car tango we go. Unfortunately for us, however, Woods doesn't have enough.
Fuck! Mikhalich! Why are you ruining everything? Again? I was popular. The festival was popular. And now, I'm disappointed. Now, we'll fix it. We were racing stuff, but you still not going to calm down. Armored machines, son. This is your last festival. fucking die, okay? I'm the one with the fucking dick.
Anyway, with his heavy artillery, we have to provoke him to destroy the Rick's pylon with his vehicle, while also avoiding getting destroyed by the cannon. After that, we have our final cutscene in the game.
What the hell? Bad day, bad day, bad day. When will you die already?
You're all under my control.
I'm back.
Женька!
Oops. Hello, Frank.
Remember my face. Here's greetings from the past.
What?
Fuck! Бля, Михалыч!
Женька. Dude. Now it's clear why he kept quiet, why I had to get to Woods. There's no revenge. Woods has fallen. The arrogant and deceitful power is over. Through his efforts, we and similar races will be forgotten again for decades. And it really seems that today my last festival in my life is over. I was able to survive it, but Jenka did not. I'm tired. I am leaving. My story is over.
Okay, I must admit, I lied to you. There is one more cutscene in the game, but I'll keep it as a secret, because it's best to experience on your own. My conclusions regarding the plot are as follows. If they had some of the voice lines re-recorded, it would have been better for everyone, as the cutscenes and the scenario are pretty serviceable. The final effect may appear super amateurish and awkward to some people, due to fairly common grammar errors and poor quality of some of the lines uttered. I genuinely wish the Good Boys team success in their future endeavors. And I really hope that they will decide to re-record the voice lines and hire someone to fix those other issues that have popped up, like the lack of synchronization between the speech and subtitles, but also the sound mixing. In this short part of the video, I would like you to take a quick glance at the game's roadmap, as since the release it had a lot of updates, which added a lot of new features and content within just over a year. I won't get too much into details, but I really hope that we will get some more new content eventually, before or after the release of the console version of the title. And here is the whole FlatOut, the game that is a love letter to the FlatOut series, which definitely isn't without its flaws, but a lot of heart and goodwill were put into its production, that the racing genre quite honestly is missing in the recent years. It takes a lot of inspiration from the FlatOut's legacy, adds some more on top of it, and takes itself in a very light-hearted way that some may or may not like it. But what it truly has is soul, unique charm, and fun, which truly shows when you try to give this game a fair chance. Given how inexpensive it can get during the sales, I highly encourage you to think about trying it, if it looks like something up your alley, as you might even like it as much as I did. Thank you everyone for reaching the end of this video. I really appreciate it. It's been over a year since my last big video on YouTube, but I still decided to try again. This time with a bit more experience and better gear, which I hope you can hear in this video. Originally this video was supposed to come out before the end of 2023, but because of a certain thing happening and other responsibilities, I was sadly a bit too busy to work on the script as much as I needed to. Nevertheless, I hope you liked my video, and don't forget to like and possibly subscribe to this channel, and checking my Twitch channel, as I might stream some games there from time to time. You might even like it. In any case, thank you once again, and I hope to see you in my next video. Take care everyone.